Today we are sharing facts about one of my favorite singers, bringing us hit songs that are romantic and filled with love. Stay tuned for more as I share interesting facts about historical figures like Brian McKnight.
Brian Kelly McKnight is an American singer, songwriter, actor, record producer, and radio host who was born on June 5th, 1969.
And when thinking about his musical influence, Brian McKnight's older brother was huge. In 1990, Claude McKnight III, Brian's older brother's band, Take Six, signed a record deal. This encouraged Brian to shop his own demo tapes, and by the age of 19, had signed his first recording contract.
And with a voice like Brian McKnight's, it is easy to understand why he had early success. With songs like One Last Cry, I Remember You, and 1997's Anytime, Brian McKnight developed fans around the world. In fact, his Anytime album sold over 2 million copies and was nominated for a Grammy.
In 1999, McKnight released Back at One, his most successful album to date, which eventually went on to sell over 3 million copies.
Up next, when trying to get into the holiday spirit, Brian McKnight definitely comes to mind when making a playlist. That is where Brian McKnight joined another historic group, Boys to Men, to create a Christmas classic called Let It Snow. Selling out arenas for concerts is something that Brian McKnight is definitely used to. But this next fact is about Brian McKnight heading to one of the biggest stages in the world. That is where Brian McKnight performed on Broadway in the show Chicago in October 2007.
Moving on to our next fact, Brian McKnight would go from having his music played on the radio to being a radio host himself. From 2006 to 2010, he hosted a radio show, The Brian McKnight Morning Show, with Pat Prescott on KTWV The Wave in Los Angeles, California.
Oh yeah, and his hosting didn't stop with the radio. Brian McKnight would also head to television. Brian teamed up with comedic actress Kim Whitley for The Brian McKnight Show, where they did interviews, comedy segments, and live performances.
And there you have it, sharing interesting facts about historical figures like Brian McKnight.